Hey guys, it's Michelle from Cozyegg, and today is January 8th, 2018. This is episode 47, and this is also basically my 3-year anniversary from when I first started recording. So I did my first video January 25th of 2015. So it's been 3 years. I can hardly believe that. So anyway, this is my first video of 2018, and I thought I would catch you up on what I've worked on over the past 7 days. So let's dig in. The first thing, so I think in my last video I showed that I was working on Mystery 9, Chatelaine Designs, and this was actually one of my goals to complete last year, which did not happen, but it's now on my list for 2018. And actually, before I jump into this, let me backtrack just a little bit. So I talked last time in my video about doing basically kind of my own year of whips. Just picking, you know, a handful of designs, a handful of whips, and just working to try to get them completed in 2018. So, you know, I had picked out my, I think it's 9 pieces, because that just seemed like a good number. So I picked 9 pieces and walked through all of those with you last time. Since then, I had watched Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitchy. I watched her video, and she talked about doing Whipocalypse, which was a complete blast from the past. I have not heard somebody use the term Whipocalypse in years. So I actually participated in Whipocalypse 2009, 2000, I don't know. 8, 9, probably somewhere in that range, and enjoyed it, had a good time with it, worked on some whips. So when I saw that it was still going on, and not only that, they now had there's now a Facebook group for it, I was like, okay, I'm on board with this. I have a blog anyway, might as well use it. So I have jumped on the Whipocalypse bandwagon. And yesterday was the kickoff launch of Whipocalypse for 2018. And so I did a blog post that went up yesterday. I also linked to it in the Facebook group. And I did a Instagram post earlier today that basically shows all of my whips, my 9 that I've chosen, kind of where they are currently, and you know, just some photos and some details about each of them. So that's all on there if you want to take a good look. I actually got my camera out, stopped the presses. I didn't use my phone to take photos. I actually got my camera out, put the photos in Lightroom, and then put them on my blog. What a novel idea. So that's what I did. Go check out the post if you want. You can start anytime with Whipocalypse if you want to. There's no kind of hard and fast, you know, rules, etc. Other than posting once a month on kind of what your status is, where you're at. And there's a monthly question that you can answer if you want to do that. Whatever. So, all that being said, I'm doing Whipocalypse. I'm doing kind of my own year of whips. Either way, I'm working on some whips. I have 9 focus whips. We'll see how that goes. So, Mystery 9. I worked on this. I basically worked on this nonstop from the day that Martina died through January 1st. And so what I was able to complete was one whole corner. So let me show you how this looks right now. So there's the whole thing. And so obviously this top corner is what I focused on. So let me show you that a little bit closer. So I already had the beading done on these little swirls. They do have large Swarovski crystals that go in them. Those are being held off on. You saw the corner pool finished last time. And that green hedge that has the Algerian islets in it. And then, I don't remember exactly where I was the last time I showed you this, but I did the espalier trees, and those have little backstitched leaves on them, and then they are beaded. And it's like a navy. The beads are really pretty, but it's hard to pick them up because they're so dark. And then with that dark brown there. So I did the espalier trees, and I did actually have to look up what the heck an espalier tree is. So feel free to Google. But once I Googled, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what they look like. So, and then I did that little row of flowers. Those have queen stitches and Algerian islets, and then some beads. I did that green row up there. There are beads in the corner here. Those little, I'm going to call them bricks, which are amazing. And I don't know if this is going to focus that close, but those are basically done by satin stitching that entire section, that rectangle, and then taking the metallic petite treasure braid and doing an X across it. And look at the dimension that adds. The whole time I was doing it, I kept thinking I would never have come up with that. Like, I would never have done that on my own. But wow, what an effect that is. And then at the top here are these little urns, and they have two little, they're almost like a pale pearl color delicate bead that are very hard to see, but you can see that little bit of sparkle there. And then I have started on the staircase that's at the top in the middle there. That is done, except the steps need to be filled in. So those have not been filled in yet. And I believe they're done with the same satin stitching that's done right here, just not with the overlay. So that's a whole corner complete. And so when I pick this up and work on it again next, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over here and work on this corner and basically get the whole thing done. But man, doesn't that change the whole look of it? I mean, to me, it just really does. So, but I was super pleased to get that done. I had just kind of set myself, since I knew I wasn't going to get the whole piece done, obviously, I set myself a goal of trying to get just that corner done by the end of the year. And I did have to work on it on January 1st, but that's okay. I got it done. So that's where I'm at on Mystery 9. And then After I finished with that corner on the first, then that evening I picked up my New Year's start, which is actually a restart. And so I don't remember what I showed you last time. I may have shown you my fabric, maybe not. So this is 10 by Amy Mitten. And this is a piece that was designed for my guild, the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild, for our 10th anniversary back in 2010. And Amy came and taught the piece to us, gave us all, taught us how to do all the specialty stitches, but then also she had written this whole murder mystery to go along with the reveal of the sampler. And so at the beginning of the day when we did chapter 1, we only got a fragment of what the piece looked like. And so I am working on chapter 1. Let me back up. When we took the class, we got our kits and started stitching. And then Amy said, you know, kind of later in the day, so if you want to tea dye your piece, here's how to do it. Here's the instructions in the thing. Okay. So the piece has basically sat in a closet since then, because I knew that the first thing I was going to have to do was rip that out because I wanted to tea dye my fabric. So I ripped all that stitching out. I hadn't stitched a whole lot, but I ripped it out. I tea dyed my piece, and so I was ready to go on January 1st. So now, fast forward back to what I was talking about. So at the beginning of the class, we got chapter 1. We went through the whole mystery, you know, reenactment, etc., murder mystery, and learn a little history about the piece, about the specific parts in this chapter. And so we were given this. And so this is what is encompassed by chapter 1. And it is basically a Tudor Rose. And yes, I know that doesn't look like a Tudor Rose because it doesn't have the white petals. I will explain why. It has a Tudor Rose. It's got, and then it morphs down into an apple tree with leaves, apples, and then this little caterpillar. So this is part 1, which is what I'm working on. So I started it the night of January 1st and worked on it through Saturday, so day before yesterday. And this is where I got, so there's my whole piece. Excuse me, this is Witch Elk Lamb's Wool. Anyway, this is, let me hold something up behind that. Let's see if that helps at all. Okay, so even though you can see my threads through there. So this is what I got done. And so basically the first part that you do is you stitch the base of the red flower in there using blood red. And then you do those 5 little leaves around the outside with some little satin stitches in Morbid. Then you do a double running stitch to outline the trunk and the branches. And then in Venom, you stitch this leaf, also in satin stitch. And that is not going to focus super close up. Anyway, you get the idea. And then the next thing that I have to do is, after I get all these leaves in, is to do some chain stitching. And so all the branches are going to be filled in with chain stitching, and then the veins in the leaf are also going to be chain stitched. So that's what I got done. Now, the reason that this does not look like a Tudor Rose at the moment is because we are doing detached buttonhole petals. And so here are, these are the two that I did in class. I've yet to go back and see if I can attempt to do these again. And so these are my petals. And so you put down this couching thread basically. And so on the other side, you will notice none of that red is on the back side, because you're basically working on the surface. And so now that I have that put together, you're basically going to take off that little couching thread that you used, and then use these long threads to attach your little petals to your flower. And so you do however many in red and however many in white, and then that's when it will actually look like a Tudor Rose with the red and white petals. So that is going to be a challenge, but I am up for the challenge. This took me a lot of time to do, and there was a lot of ripping out. The night that I worked on that leaf, that's all I did. I stitched that leaf twice, but I finally got it stitched. So I'm just trying to take it one step at a time. Her directions are very good. Me following them is up for discussion, but so that's what I worked on. This was my New Year's start, although it was a restart. So I'm considering this as being a whip. And here's what the whole piece will look like. So it is an Adam and Eve sampler. You can see what it looks like with the white petals attached to the white and the red petals attached to the top. And then each of these little parts have symbolism and meaning to them, which Amy goes into in her description in each chapter, and a little bit about the history, etc. So that's what I worked on for the first week in January. And then last night I switched over to another piece. So I'm basically going to be working in my rotation this year, kind of like I was trying to do last year until I got crazy. So yep. So a couple of things inspired me to start working on this piece next. One, after Amy Mitten, I wanted something that was just a cross stitch. So that was kind of my first thought, was I needed something that I could just stitch. So the other thing is that I have been binge watching Nicole's videos, Nicole's needlework. I've been trying to catch up on her videos, and so I've been sort of, whipping through them as quickly as possible. And it just, obviously her stuff is so inspirational. She stitches so fast and she stitches some amazing pieces, but it really kind of rekindled my love for repro samplers. I feel like it's been a long time since I worked on a repro sampler, so I'm super excited to get back to them. I have really missed stitching on samplers, and they're kind of my first love. So And after working on this Amy Mitten piece, you know, it was kind of like, oh, I have all of these Adam and Eve samplers that I really want to get stitched. I need to get on that. So I have a few, which you saw framed in my hallway, but there's more. So some are whips, some are not started yet. But so yeah, so Nicole inspired me to kind of get back to my sampler stitching, as well as Tracy P just started this piece, and so it got me kind of anxious to work on mine, seeing her progress on hers. So I decided to get out His Eye is on the Sparrow. And so here is where I'm at. I've got my fabric kind of high up there. So this is where I'm at. And basically all of this was stitched already. What I worked on last night were the flowers in that big basket. And you know, the first thing, and I had to finish out some of the leaves. So the first thing I did was, okay, I'm going to finish out these leaves. And I went to grab my Piney Woods. Piney Woods was not in my bag. And so then I thought, well, maybe I need to work on this border a little bit more instead of doing those flowers. And so I went to grab Oscar, and Oscar was not in my bag. So then I had to figure out where it was. So I went to my handy dandy spreadsheet. I didn't even have to get out of my stitching chair because I have my spreadsheet in Dropbox. And so I just opened up my iPad and went to Dropbox and opened up my spreadsheet, and lo and behold, both of those threads were in Dutch Beauty. So I went and stole them back. So I was able to finish out the leaves on that big flower basket, and then I started on the flowers and enjoyed every single stitch of this. I love this piece so much. And so I am stitching on a very wrinkled piece because it's been wadded up in a bag for so long. A very wrinkled piece of Gonder linen. I believe that this is 48 count. And I am stitching with the called for threads, 1/2. So yeah, I'm really thrilled with how it looks. And a word to the wise, I totally forgot to tell Tracy. Sorry. But the symbols in the cow are super, there's a symbol in there for his spots, I think, or him, or both, that are similar to other symbols. And so if you are not careful, your cow or his spots will be green. So just be aware of that. There are several symbols in this chart that are similar to each other. So yeah, so that's what I worked on. And fortuitously, this is my 3-year video anniversary, Flosstube anniversary. And in my very first video, this is what I had just started. So, full circle. And I felt that I needed to wear the same top that I wore in my first video. This is the bag that my sparrow lives in. And this was made by my friend Sylvia. And there were 4 of us that were actually going to start stitching this together, as well as it was the 2015 Sampler World Stitch Along piece. And so, but Sylvia gifted each of us with this bag that she made. And I love the sampler fabric and the little scissor charm here. It has a little ruffle, and I've got my chart in here, but if my chart wasn't in here, you could see the inside, and then it's got a little Velcro piece. And she also made me a scissor jail to put my scissors in with a pom-pom, which is why, you know, that first video was called Who Can Resist a Pom-Pom. I have this beautiful scissor fob that my friend Ava gave to me that has a little sampler on it, which I just love. I've been working this so long that I forgot I even had those scissors. And then I have all the threads in floss away bags. And I now have my Piney Woods and my Oscar back amongst their brothers. And I have this beautiful little, this is, I think this is from Brenda Gervais, the little thread keeper, the little scissors on the bottom. Just love it. So, and then I've got my chart in here, and this is where my piece has been living when it's not in the Q-snap. So I got that out last night and worked on it, loved it. I'm thrilled to have it back out again, and I'm really, really enjoying working on this. And of course, I'm right in that section of videos where Nicole has started and restarted and started and restarted her sparrow. So that I've been enjoying that. But yeah, that's why mine is so teeny tiny, is because it's on 48 count. So, but I just love it. So I am looking forward to working on that some more tonight. So what else? I have a couple of gifts that I want to share, and so I have also been watching, I've been trying to catch up a little bit on Flosstube videos, but I'm so overwhelmed by the number of them. You know, I feel like I'm never going to get caught up. So what I've been doing is, when I get onto YouTube and it has, you know, recommended videos, if it's people that I follow, I just click on one of the videos that's right there as recommended. So I've been watching a lot of people's most recent videos, even though I'm several behind. But whatever, I'm enjoying seeing everybody's, you know, kind of 2017 wrap up, 2018, let's just, 2018 plans, etc. And so that has been fun to watch. So who have I watched? So I watched Bendy Stitchy, obviously, because she talked about her 2018 plans and Woodpocalypse. I've been watching Nicole. I watched Farm Girl and her video where she showed kind of her craft room makeover, which is awesome. I've watched some Stitcherista videos, which has been fun, because every time I go, I'd never know what kind of video it's going to be. And let's see, I've watched Jessie Marie. I've watched a few of her videos lately, which I'm going to kind of segue into that here in a minute. And I watched Stash Queen today while I was trying to get some stuff done, some paperwork done, and McKenna's latest video, which was fun. So yeah, fun stuff. So over the holidays, I got a little note from Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches, asking if I had received her Christmas card. I'm like, no, I haven't seen it. And so this was, I think, you know, the weekend, New Year's weekend. So I guess last weekend. And she said, okay, well, it'll probably be there Tuesday, no problem. So, Tuesday, I had like the cruddiest day. It was just crazy. But, when I got home from Guild, which Guild was good, but when I got home from Guild, the mail was there and I had this package from Diana, and I'm like, this is bigger than a card. But so I opened it up, and in it was this amazing project bag that has, and she showed this on her Instagram, and it's got poison bottles on it. So it's and I think she used Vanna's tutorial, and it's got Velcro on it, and then it's got this really pretty, you can't see it, but it's a tone-on-tone kind of off-white pattern of leaves, which is perfect. And then there was this little Notions pouch, zipper pouch that opens up. And she sent the sweetest note, and basically said, you know, this is for your poison garden journey. So, and she said that she had sent one to Jessie Marie as well. So it was awesome that I watched Jessie's video, where she had received her bag. She had started Poison Garden on the 1st, and I was so excited to see her progress, which it's so pretty. But the chart for Poison Garden is actually my Christmas present from Eric this year. So I'm super thrilled with that. I haven't bought a chart in a long time, so I'm very happy to have that. And so I'm super happy that as soon as I get that kitted up and get ready to start it, I have the perfect bag to put it in. And Jessie Marie has her beads and everything, her little bead pack in here, which is perfect because I'm always afraid that mine is gonna, like, those little lids are gonna come off and it's gonna go everywhere. So even though I keep it in the plastic bag that it comes in, it will be much safer in the little Notions bag. So I'm super happy about this. So thank you so much, Diana. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. So thank you for thinking of me, and I'm excited to use this for Poison Garden when I get started. I gotta finish Mystery 9 though first. So, all right. So that is one of the amazing gifts that I received. The other one I actually got at Guild the other night. So, my friend Robert, who I think I have mentioned before, is a member of the Guild, and he is just a super prolific stitcher. If you are in any of the sampler groups like Sampler World or Samplers of Yesteryear or whatever that other one is, you will see him post from time to time with his finishes and what he's working on, and it's just astounding. I keep hoping that if I sit next to him, it'll rub off and I'll stitch faster. But really, I think it's more that he focuses better on things. Which I may have talked about before. So with Mystery 9, one of the things that I was trying to do was, part of my reason for sticking with that corner was I figured I could kind of just jump between pieces. And so if I got bogged down with those leaves and the espalier trees, then I could jump over and I could do some solid stitching of that green border or the staircase or whatever. And so that actually helped me quite a bit not to lose focus and not to get bored with what I was working on is I would just kind of jump from thing to thing to thing, which was so fun. And Robert does that to keep his, you know, I don't know if it's just because he wants to or just to keep himself interested in a piece so he doesn't get bored with it. But it worked really well. So I may be doing more of that in the future. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. So Robert actually gifted me with one of his finished samplers. So, and it's huge. So let me see if I can show you. And it's been rolled up, so it's hard to see the whole thing, but there it is. And this is Long Dog Designs piece, all stitched in one color. It's a variegated thread that's kind of a teal blue that goes into almost a black. That's really, really pretty. And I believe that the name of this one is Renaissance, which, as far as I can tell, may have been kind of a limited edition, which I think she may have done for like her anniversary or something. But anyway, it's just stunning. Absolutely stunning. And he stitched this in 2006, which is the year that Eric and I got married. So, yeah, I just love it. Absolutely love it. And I did have kind of a hard time. I was trying to look to make sure that I had the name right of which one it was. And I had kind of a hard time of it because very few people have stitched this as far as I can tell. It's not one of the, you know, better known ones, and maybe it's because it was a limited edition or because it was, it's an older piece. But Eric and I are determining where the best place is to hang this, and then Eric is going to make me a frame for it, which I'm very excited about. So thank you, Robert. I really, really appreciate it. And more importantly, I appreciate your friendship. So, okay, so those are my two awesome gifts. And really the only other thing I was going to share is what I'm reading. So, because I kind of did shout outs, I kind of told you, ooh, I was watching, not talking to you, watching. So I have been reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. And this book is the third in the series. Read it. So when I went and met up with Robin from My Life's a Stitch in Baltimore, we got to talking about the Fever books and how good those are and how much we love Barron's. And I said, oh, have you read A Court of Thorns and Roses? And she said no. And after I got over my shock, I said, okay, well, girlfriend, you need to read these. Like ASAP. So she read the first two, and then she said, okay, I'm ready for the third one. And I said, great, let's read it together. And so we both got on the waiting list at our libraries for the book, and hers came in a little bit before mine. Mine, of course, came in like during the holidays, so they were closed. And I have unfortunately not had a whole lot of time to read, and she's finished. But I am working my way through it. Love it, love it, love it. So I can't wait to read more of it. And this is like the fourth book that I have started recently because the other three were not holding my attention very much. So I figured if anything could get me out of my reading slump, it's this. So I'm really enjoying that, even if I'm only reading, 5 or 10 minutes at a time. And the other thing that I want to talk about, kind of in line with that, is that I did a little bit of tweaking on my blog. And so in my sidebar now, I used to have, I used to just kind of handwrite this little list and put it in there of what I had read in the year, what I was currently reading, that sort of thing. Eric actually hooked me up with a plugin, so now it shows the book covers, which makes me inordinately happy to see the actual book cover pictures there. And so right now, because I haven't finished anything yet in 2018, it's showing all of my 2017 books that I read, and it's showing the books that I'm currently reading along with my progress. So this one is the only one I've actually gone in and put progress on, basically what page I'm on, but that gets updated too. So go and take a look, and if you're on Goodreads, please feel free to friend me. The other thing that I did was I put in little thumbnails of all of my 2017 finishes and my focus pieces. So I only picked, 3 or 4 focus pieces to put in there because I didn't want to get crazy. But I have those in there too with little thumbnail pictures, which makes me also inordinately happy. So that's what I'm doing. And otherwise, kind of crafting related, I guess, I'm kind of trying to get a handle on my stash, mainly my charts, because I've done so much like purging of charts, selling charts, and I've never really gone in and kind of updated my list as to what I have and what I don't have. And I have a bunch of things electronically that never made it in the list. So yeah. So I'm in the process of kind of working all of that out and going through things. And so this afternoon I actually pulled one of my notebooks that has all of my A&E samplers in it, and I started pulling that and getting that up to date and making sure that I have all of the info on there. And I've been putting in the stitch count, which that's not ever something that I put in my spreadsheet before, but I'm thinking that it may be helpful when I'm trying to look for, if I'm trying to figure out what size piece of fabric I need and I don't want to go rummaging from the chart or whatever. So I'm putting that in there too. The other thing that I keep thinking about is that I would really like to have pictures in my list, because I'm such a visual person. I would really like to be able to go through some pictures and say, that's what I want to work on. I don't have the Xstitch app, but from what I understand, you can't add a picture to each of the pieces unless you use the journal function. So that's what I've heard. I don't know if that's a true statement or not, because I had been thinking, oh, well, if I get the app and then put all of my charts in there, all of my, pieces in there with a picture, then I could quickly kind of see, here's all the stuff that I have. But it sounds like that may not actually work. So I'm contemplating possibly doing a board on Pinterest. Maybe. Well, thoughts, suggestions, I'm open to them. So anyway, I think that's all that I have. I'm going to work on sparrows some more. I'm going to try to watch some more Flosstube videos and see if I can get caught up. That's never going to happen, but I'm going to see if I can watch some more and get a little further along. I told you about the blog post, told you about Wopocalypse. I did also go in and I did blog posts for each of my finishes for last year, and so each one of them has actual photos of them with all of the info in there. And then once I did that, then I said, oh, I don't think I've shared some of these in the Facebook group. So I went and shared a photo of my finished sampler, Salem Remembered, in the Salem Not Forgotten Sal group. And then I also shared a photo of it and Halloween Garden in the Witch's Hollow Primitive Needle group. So I shared both of those. But yeah, it's making me realize that it has been so long since I have finished a sampler that I need to get back to my sampler stitching. So, all right. I think that's all I have. I thought this was only going to be like 20 minutes, but here we are at 45. Whatever. So thanks for sticking with me for 3 whole years of floss tubing. And this actually marks in June, it will be 12 years blogging. 12. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, for watching, for commenting, for subscribing. I so appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing. Get some stitching done. And let me know what your thoughts are on photos of your charts, because I could sure use that. And I'll be back to show you progress on Sparrow and then whatever I work on after Sparrow. Show notes can be found on my blog, cozyegg.cozyeggdesigns.com. I will link it down below, but you can always find show notes on my blog, sometimes soon after, sometimes not so soon after, but I'm trying to stay on top of it. There were several of you that commented on my last video that you did not realize that I had another channel for essential oils, my Cozy Life channel, and I have been neglectful in not replying to your comment, which I will do, but I'm also going to say it here just in case I forget. I do have a Cozy Life YouTube channel, so you should be able to search under Cozy Life essential oils. Otherwise, you can go to my blog, go to my website, cozyyeggdesigns.com. From there, you can navigate to my Cozy Life site, and there's a follow me link up there to YouTube that should take you directly to my channel. There's also, I have a blog on there as well. So if you're interested in essential oils, if you're interested in chemical-free goodies stuff, DIY kind of things, take a look at that. And I did video my thing about making the my homemade potpourri, so I just need to get that video posted and get it out there. So those of you that were looking for that, it is under Cozy Life. So, all right, thanks guys. Enjoy your stitching. I just had a little momentary blank. Enjoy your stitching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.